Okay, Peter Hudson here, Head of Training and Recruitment of the World Golf Teaching Federation and founder of YGA. So I promised both our coaches and our game improvement people that this is one subject that I was going to open to everybody, and it's because it was quite, it was linked so specifically with the work that we were doing on percentages. So first of all, the parachute method. So I don't know whether any of you have been parachuting, but when I first went, what used to happen is a plane would go up, and when it was directly over where the parachute was going to land, it would drop a dummy parachute. That parachute then would respond to the conditions around and float off a certain distance and direction. And then wherever it went, distance and direction wise, then the opposite of that would be plotted in the same distance, and that's where the parachutist would be dropped out of the plane to allow them to come back to that center target. So the basic parachute method is much like that. So in other words, what it suggests that you do is take an average of all of your golf shots for the dispersion from that club, from a specific club. In this case it's going to be a 6-iron, and a minimum of 20 shots, and then plot where those shots finish compared to a pinprick target, or whatever your pinprick target was, and then see what sort of pattern that you've got. And that pattern could be pretty poor. Now look, for the moment, what I've done here is I've created a target, a pinprick target, 150 metres away. I've taken a 6-iron and I've hit 20 shots, and I've plotted the dispersion. Now what I did was I put a 3-yard radius round my central target, an 8-yard radius, and then a 15-yard radius. So this is pretty big, okay? So this is 30 square metres. This is a pretty big piece of land. Now what I saw when we did the plot was that, as you can see, most of them are off to the right of target and the majority of longer. If we take an average of all those plots, if we take the centre of that plot, the very centre as far as we can get it, then that will show you that we're that far in this direction of the pinprick for the centre of this dispersion. So therefore, what we want to do is have a new centre to aim at that will then, when we hit that centre, will actually land mostly over our actual finally desired target. Now this may not be as tight as this on occasions. It may be a lot tighter than this. You may want to use a grid smaller than 3, 8 and 15. This is just where I'm starting from. But the reason I've done these grids is when I introduce you to the second part. So the second part of the parachute method, when we start to percentages, uses these. So now, the second part would actually have these back over the centralised target. So this shape here would actually come over here, so that it would offer you the biggest chance of your success. And then what would happen, we'd go back to these measurements. So in other words, now if we wanted to have 100% success, 100% success in this particular map is in actual fact of more or less a 15 to 16 square metre, or you could actually call it circular if you wanted to. You could make that a radius if you wanted to. So in other words, this distance here, this radius, you can see that's just outside there, just inside there. It's actually 15 to 14 probably. Radius of a circle is your 100% target. So in other words, you know with a 6-iron you can hit a radius of 15 degrees from a pinprick target. So you're 100% assured that you can hit that club to that target. A 70% shot would be where roughly you can hit 2/3 of that. So in other words, the radius would be smaller of your circle. So we're probably now down to about 8, a radius of 8. And if we were to hit 50%, then we can see that that radius would probably be now about 9. Or, sorry, a radius of 3 and a square meterage of about 9. So that would be your 50% chance of success, that would be your 70% chance of success, and that would be your 100% chance of success. So that's the way you use the parachute method. Further from deciding where your new pinprick target would be, you're now going to use that same system to work out what is a 100% chance of success. And obviously you're going to need to do this with each club if you're going to really use this method 100%. So look, I'm not saying that you need to go into this much detail to work this out. What I am saying is here is a mathematical way of getting to those figures. Not the easiest thing to explain without you giving me questions. So I'm going to post this for the moment, and then from the questions I might re-deliver this in an improved way to give you an even better understanding. But for the moment, thank you very much for listening.